Hi, this is probably one of the biggest sets that has appeared in XAT decision making in the last 5 years, if not more. See, not only this set had a very long story. Let me show you 5 full pages of text, but it also had 6 questions on it, question number 10 to question number 15. So, should you have attempted in the exam? Well, it would have been a little risky to attempt it in the exam, because now I know that the questions are easy, it wasn't that difficult, but doing such a big set when you don't know what's going to happen, it's not something which is recommended. Be that as it may, this I believe is the perfect set for you to understand how decision making questions are, how they should be attempted, how they involve a little bit of logical thinking also. This is the perfect example of decision making. So please go through this video, maybe revise it once as well. Also, before you go through this video, attempt this question. Attempt this question on your own and then actually look at the video. This is a question from XAT 2012. So let's begin. This talks about the technique group of industries which had businesses in different sectors ranging from manufacturing, construction, fish farming and hotels. Looks like a play on Tata Group. The different business operated in a semi-independent units managed by unit level managers. The technique management had an internal consultancy group called the Business Advisory Group. The Tata has the Tata Administrative Services. The 15 experts in BAG were hired personally with Mr. Techniquewala, the owner of Technique, who wanted the core group of experts to help the organization grow fast without facing the typical growth hurdles. So this is that elite group in Technique which takes a lot of decisions, helps growth and various stuff. Most of them were specialists in field like law, IT, HR and operations management. Almost all of them had experience spanning decades in the industry. Whenever any of the units faced any significant problems, the unit level managers would put in a request to help to BAG or BAG. The problem ranged from installation of the internal MIS, financial advice, and handling of employee grievances. Over a period of 20 years, Technique's revenue grew from 100 crores to 10,000 crores with the guidance of BAG due to Mr. Techniquewala's vision. Given its reputation in the industry, many people wanted to start their careers in BAG. Often young MBAs fresh out of business schools would apply. However, their applications used to be rejected by Mr. Techniquewala, who had a preference for people with extensive industry experience. Things changed after the unfortunate demise of Mr. Techniquewala. His daughter, Miss Techniquewali, nice set of names, took up the family business. She was an MBA from one of the Premier B schools and was working in a different company when Mr. Techniquewala passed away. She preferred that the BAG develop new ideas and therefore inducted freshly graduated MBAs from Premium B schools. She personally supervised the recruitment and the selection process. So now she wants to inject some fresh ideas and inject some fresh blood in the BAG. Now the entire group consisted of 50 specialists, out of which 35 were old-time members. So she essentially hired 15 new guys. She also changed the reporting relationships in the BAG, with some of the older members being made to report to the newer members. Okay, so this might lead to a problem. Looks like that. The IT team, Mr. Shiv, a newly recruited MBA, was made in charge. For the older members, it was a shock. However, as most of them were on the verge of retirement and it would be challenging to search for new jobs while competing with other younger professionals, they decided to play along. After 1 month, all business units were caught up in the ERP favor. This was an idea which was pushed by Ms. Techniquewala, who felt the need to replace old legacy systems with the latest ERP system, integrating all units of Technique. Sounds like a good idea. This was heavily influenced by her experience in the previous company where ERP systems were already up and running. Okay, so she had worked in a company where ERP was already implemented. Therefore, she was not aware of the difference between installing an ERP and working on an already installed one. So the problem is highlighted here itself. See, these are some of the key points that you should keep in mind. that she had worked at a company where ERP was running. She had no idea about the implementation problems. The ERP implementation in the technique group required extensive coordination of senior level managers of all units, and it represented an extra work for those who were involved. This coordination was required to understand the different work processes and the user's requirements. The coordination activity was extensively managed by the old-timers, as they were familiar with the internal processes and various people in the different units. An external consultant was also hired for customization and implementation. After 2 months, BAG teams had to fortnightly present their progress to Ms. Techniquewali's team. In the last meeting, Ms. Techniquewali was dissatisfied. She had explained her thinking that since ERP impacted every aspect of the business, the rollout had to be done faster. She wanted Mr. Shiv to get the implementation completed ahead of schedule. In the meeting, she asked Mr. Shiv to get the people in the IT team to be more productive. Okay, so Mr. Shiv is the new MBA guy who is heading the IT team, and she wanted the IT team to be more productive. Not willing to disagree, Mr. Shiv committed to a rollout ahead of the complete ERP system in 6 months instead of the earlier decided 14 months. So he has already made a mistake. He has not consulted just because the boss said, he said, okay, we'll do it in 6 months. Next day, Mr. Shiv presented the revised project milestone to BAG members. He told them that in order to meet the deadline, the members were expected to work on weekends till the completion of the project. This looks like a problem. Along with that, they were also expected to maintain their earlier standards of delivery time and quality of the normal troubleshooting and internal advisory work. So they were supposed to do everything. From 14 months, the time has come down to 6 months, and still everything should be perfect. Not going to happen. I don't think, at least. Let's go ahead in this story and find out. Mr. Shiv also pointed out that anyone whose performance did not meet the expectations would be subjected to formal disciplinary action. The meeting ended without any member commenting on Mr. Shiv ideas, although Mr. Shiv heard a lot of mumbling in the corridor. Bound to happen, Shiv noticed that the members seemed to avoid him, and he had to make extra effort to get ideas from them. After a fortnight, Shiv reviewed the attendance and found that Mr. Lal, an old-time member, had not come during the weekends, and certain decisions were held up due to lack of inputs from Mr. Lal. Mr. Shiv issued a written reprimand to Mr. Lal and was speechless. He was speechless on receiving the reprimand but kept silent. It has been 3 days since that incident. Some of the senior members had put in requests for transfer to other business units. It was rumored that 4 senior legal experts had an offer from a law firm. Other senior members would sporadically come in late to work, citing health reasons. Almost all senior members now wanted a weekly work routine to be prepared and given to them in advance so that they could deliver as per schedule. This insistence on written communication was a problem, as urgent problems or ad hoc requests could not be foreseen and included. Also, normal services to other business units were being unattended to, and there were complaints coming in from the unit heads as well. So, this has led to various problems. Let's look at the questions now. Which of the following could have been a better response of Mr. Shiv to Mr. Techniquewali's request to reschedule the ERP? Look at industry better practices regarding fast tracking of ERP projects and then commit to a new deadline. A reasonably good idea. I'll mark this as a high priority option, that instead of just randomly deciding and agreeing, he should look at the industry best practices. Consult the external consultant who was involved with the ERP customization implementation. Again, reasonable idea, could have been consulted. So basically A and B are related. So these are kind of revising the deadlines. These are both good ideas. Create a smaller team of new recruits of BAG and present the idea to them alone. Why? Why should there be a partiality? No. Eliminate the reliance on external consultants, as they would be slow. Again, see, they would be slow, but they add a lot of value to the team. That is why you have got them in the first place. So no. Present the idea to the BAG members and ask them to look at the feasibility of the entire plan. Yes, this is the option that you should have gone with. This is the best possible idea, because the problem that happened was that he randomly just decided. He did no consultation with anyone. So he could have consulted with the external consultant. He could have done some research on his own. But the guys who are at the end of the day going to implement it are the BAG members. So he should have presented the idea to them first, talked to them, discussed with them, looked at various things, and then come up with the new deadline. Whether it was 6 months, 8 months, 14 months, the decision should have been taken in cognizance with the team that is actually going to implement it and help Shiv implement it. So E is the best possible choice here. 11th, which of the following can be identified as the immediate cause of the problem? Ms. Techniquewala's decision to appoint Mr. Shiv as the project lead. Not necessarily, he could have done a better job. The incompetence of the consultant. Nowhere it is said that the consultant was incompetent. Lack of information about what is happening in the ERP project. Again, I don't think there was a lack of information about it available to people. It is just that it was not going as per plan. Or maybe it was going as a matter of per plan, but the change in deadline was the problem. Infighting between new recruits and old members. There is no sign of an infighting between them. Unilateral decision making by Shiv. Yes, that is the central cause of the whole problem, because he did not consult. He just wanted to impress the boss and just agreed with what the boss said without consulting, without giving it a proper thought. And that led to the whole issue. That led to the problem. So E was the immediate cause or the root cause of the problem here. How should Mr. Shiv cope with the situation now? So what should he do now? Considering Mr. Shiv's career would be at stake if the ERP project fails, assuming that for carrying out the options, he has the necessary authority. Okay. Resign from back, that's running away from the problem. That's out. Inform Miss Techniquewala about the situation and get help from her to deal with the old time members. Some old members need to be fired and others are also disciplined. Again, very, very drastic measure. See, the old members have not done anything which deserves firing. So this is a bad idea. This will create further friction and this will not solve the problem. The idea is to solve the problem. Align the new members of the bag to his side by promising them rewards at the end of the project. Okay, so this is again creating groups, creating politics, creating infighting. Not a good idea. This is also ruled out. Develop work routines aligned to the ERP project requirements. Okay, so you make a plan on how to implement it. Hire extra resources. Yes, very important, because with the current resources, they are not able to deal with it. For dealing with the other ad hoc requirements and for the ERP project. So you hire more people, get more people in the team to implement it faster. So D seems like a very, very good idea. We'll come back to it. Create a joint team of old members and new members within BAG to take care of ad hoc requirements. That team exists. That team is the BAG. So what new team are you talking about? They would be socialized in outbound programs like mountaineering, which will be conducted during weekend. So anyways, you are running short on time and then you go in for, see, these type of socializing things which are mentioned like mountaineering, etc. are helpful, no doubt. They are team building activities, but currently they are already in the BAG. These are senior smart people and this does not deal with the situation at hand. So E is not a good idea and you should go in with D as the option for question 12. 13th, on the problems being faced in BAG, which of the following is neither discussed or not hinted at? Okay. So which of them is not discussed in the passage? Ms. Techniquewala's lack of faith on older members to implement new ideas. This is definitely hinted. That is why she hired fresh graduates. See, the idea of hiring the fresh graduates was that they could get in new ideas and stuff. So she could have just discussed with the old members. Why can't old members have new ideas? So no, A is definitely hinted at. A is definitely hinted at. So A is not our answer. Inability of younger members to work with the older members of BAG. This isn't mentioned in the passage that the younger members had a problem with the older members. One guy, Mr. Shiv, was taking unilateral decisions, but nowhere it is said that he had a problem working with the older members. So this is not hinted at. Most probably B will be our answer, but still, let's look at the other options. Mr. Shiv's intention to impress Ms. Techniquewala by agreeing to a tougher deadline, he did that. He went from 14 months to 6 months just because she said so. So this is hinted. I won't say hinted. This is directly mentioned in the package. So C cannot be the answer. Ms. Techniquewala's lack of understanding of the complexity of the ERP implementation. Yes, this is also mentioned because she worked at a previous company where ERP was already implemented. So D is very much mentioned. So D is also ruled out. Mr. Shiv's lack of understanding of the sensitivities of the older members. Well, this is not directly mentioned, but the kind of things that he has done. Taking decisions unilaterally, reprimanding senior members of the company, asking them to come on the weekends and various stuff. So this is hinted at, not directly mentioned, but this is definitely hinted at in the passage. So E cannot be the answer either, which is why B should be the option that we should mark. 14th one, after her father's demise, the best way Miss Techniquali could have gone about dealing with the bag would have been to discuss with the members as to what their views were about the company and solicit ideas on how to make it grow further. Definitely, she should have done that. This seems like a very high priority option, but I look at the others also. Retire the entire team. No, very drastic. Out. I'm not even going to read further. Hire an external consultant who would have interacted with the BAG members on her behalf. Why? See, this is her company. These are her top employees, the highest priority employees, the people with experience. You hire an external consultant to deal with them? No, not at all. You should, as a matter of fact, you should interact with them more and more to get to know more about the company. Till now, Miss Techniquali was working at a different company. She has no idea how the Technique group functions. So this will be creating maybe even more problems. So C is not recommended. Ask the unit managers about the performance of the bag growth, performance and productivity. She could have done that. After that, have a discussion with bag members about unit managers' performance. So this is more of an internal employee evaluation. This is again a good idea, but not as strong as A, because the idea for the bag group is the leader of the pack. So she should talk to them about growth and stuff. Among A and D, I would still mark A. Break down bag into different subgroups, very drastic idea. I will not recommend that. And it would be easy to tackle one subgroup at a time. So again, see, E is very negative in approach. It kind of puts like Miss Techniquala is in one group and the bag is in the other group and they are fighting and it's about winning. That is not the key. That is not the vision. The idea is to grow the company further, which can be best done with the help of option A if she involves the bag group in discussion. And that is why you should have marked A in question 14. Sorry for the long video, but last one of the set. It can be inferred from the above case that implementation of ERP in an organization requires creation of a team which has, which of the following skills? A mixture of experienced employees and newly graduated employees. Well, that was there, but that didn't really work. So, no. Only young people with education in top schools? No, not at all. Sufficient number of people who are networked with powerful stakeholders in the organization. Again, see, all the options A, B and C are talking about is just experienced guys, young guys, people who are networked. You need people with basic ERP skills. That is not even mentioned in A, B and C. So they are outrightly rejected. Right amount of problem solvers along with those who are abreast of the latest ERP technology. Yes, this looks like a very, very good option because it has people who are ERP expert. It has people who are problem solvers. So this should do the job. Let's also look at E. People who have been involved with operations for a long duration, they will be required of time along with people who are aware of the latest in ERP technology. I think I said D too fast. E is a much better option because it has people who are involved with operations, because you will need people who are involved with operations to implement the ERP. You will need those unit managers, you will need the people from BAG, because that is where in the units is where the ERP is going to be implemented. So you definitely require them, and you definitely need people who have the ERP expertise as mentioned here. So in question 15, you should mark E. With this, I come to the end of the longest set. Hope you enjoyed it and learned from it. Thank you. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get notifications of future videos.